Here we have the Heuer Carrera Calibre 1887 Jack Heuer edition. Quite a mouthful, and the watch really has a lot to take in and appreciate as well. This watch was released at Baselworld in 2013. It builds off of a concept watch that Tag Heuer created in 2012 called the Micro Girder that measured elapsed time as precisely as 1/2000th of a second, or technically it was 5/10,000ths of a second, which is really a tremendous mechanical feat. But visually it was a stunning innovation as well. Tag Heuer wanted to build a watch that looked like a stopwatch set into an outer case. The result was a bullhead chronograph where the crown and pushers were on the top of the case like a stopwatch, and the inner case appeared set into an outer cage at an angle. For the Jack Heuer edition, which celebrates the 50th anniversary of the Carrera, one of the most legendary and collectible chronographs ever produced, there is the same case aesthetics overall. It measures 45mm wide, 51mm lug to lug, and about 16.5mm thick, amounting to a sizable watch. But it's light, coming in at 122 grams, owing to the partial titanium construction. The case construction here is complex with different finishings and materials used throughout. The outer girder cage is brushed and polished steel, while the polished bezel is black titanium carbide-coated steel. The inner case itself is black titanium carbide-coated titanium. Wow. All the different surfaces keep things interesting, but it's really the three-dimensional details that give this watch its fire. On or off the wrist, you don't really get bored looking at this one from all angles. It's a watch from the past and the future. Its silhouette is certainly something new, but its bullhead design and signature Carrera lugs salute its heritage. The crown on top is probably the easiest crown I've operated on a watch that isn't a Flieger. It's bold, making it easy to use, sure, but its mostly valuable feature is the rubber strip that means a sure grip when pulling out the crown without needing a fingernail for leverage. Sapphire crystals are on the front and back. You can see the exhibition caseback's window is smoked, offering a limited view of the movement and housing the Heuer family crest as well as Jack's signature. The dial is well done too, mixing a range of colors and textures. Like the case, the dial has two parts to it, the inner, lighter silver sunburst dial and the outer anthracite dial that houses the polished hour markers. The 369 layout of the subdials gave Tag Heuer the opportunity to make the chronograph registers on the sides more pronounced than the running seconds at 6 o'clock, which is almost completely hidden. This ties together the stopwatch-related subdials, and overall it looks like a vintage Heuer, like a reference 7753 with the bicompax layout. Then there's the date within the 6 o'clock register, countered by the applied logo across the dial at 12. A splash of color also unites the chronograph features. The red stopwatch seconds hand coordinates with the red tipped hands of the hour and minute registers. Calibre 1887 is behind the dial. It's a 39-joule automatic column wheel chronograph movement with 50 hours of power reserve. The column wheel chronograph translates into a buttery soft push-button experience. Starting, stopping, and resetting the chronograph feels much smoother than your average lever-based system. Now, normally the 1887 doesn't allow for a tri-compax dial arrangement, but achieving the bullhead design essentially requires rotating the movement counterclockwise, thereby rendering the 963 register layout, which is also a nod to Heuer's Carreras of the past. The Jack Heuer edition comes on an alligator strap with a gorgeous red lining. Tag Heuer calls it a soft touch leather, and it really is. Both flexible and strong, it's a strap you can wear for hours on end, and the red lining is a really nice touch. The deployant clasp is black titanium carbide-coated titanium, again, wow. It's super light, easy to use, and doesn't rely on existing pinholes in the leather, so you can get a 100% perfect fit out of the box. The lug width on this Carrera is 22mm, so you could switch out the strap, but I don't see why you would. It's perfect. You can see that due to its case design, it doesn't sit flat on the wrist. There's really no way for it to, but I never had any issues wearing this for prolonged periods of time, likely due to its titanium construction and it being lightweight. It's a sporty watch with luxurious details. Wear it with whatever you want, but I always see this as a conversation piece. It's really unique in its design, and I like to think of it as a perfect watch for special occasions. It's fit for everyday wear, but something you reach for when you want something special on your wrist. The Jack Heuer edition retails for $7,800, which is not cheap by any means. For being a chronograph with an in-house movement, it sits around the pricing of, say, Omega's Coaxial Speedmasters or Zenith's El Primero. On those dimensions alone, I'm not sure the Carrera can hold its own against those two alternatives. However, when you factor in the complex construction, the girder case design, and the vintage-style bullhead configuration, it's clear that this is one of a kind and this Carrera becomes more competitive and, yes, avant-garde.